So, you're thinking of selling your HDB. Maybe you have been seeing those record-breaking sales in the market and wondering how much you really make from selling yours. A lot of homeowners think that if they sell their HDBs for 700 or 800,000, they will just pocket all that money. But the reality is not so simple. After paying off your loan, refunding your CPF savings and covering agent fees, the actual amount that hits your bank account might be a lot less than expected. Many sellers don't calculate these things properly before putting their flat up for sale, which leads to some big surprises later on. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you the exact method to calculate your profits after selling your HDB. By the end, you will have a step-by-step guide that works whether you bought a BTO or a resale flat. The goal is simple. Before listing your HDB, you need to know how much you will actually walk away with. This will help you decide whether to upgrade, downgrade, or reinvest your money elsewhere. Let's break it down. One common mistake homeowners make is assuming that the selling price minus off your outstanding loan equals your profit. But that's an oversimplification that leaves out a lot of important details. First up, that's the CPF refund. If you use your CPF to pay for your down payment and mortgage, every dollar you took out plus the accrued interest must be refunded to your CPF account. So a big chunk of your sale proceeds won't be cash in hand. It will be locked in CPF. Then there are the transaction costs. Selling a flat usually involves agents' commissions about 2% of the selling price plus GST. Legal fees for paperwork and conveyancing can cost about $2,000 to $3,000. Some sellers also spend on minor touch-ups, repainting, or moving costs. All these costs adds up, which is why a flat selling for $750,000 might only leave the seller with half that amount in cash. To make this clear, let's go through an actual example with real numbers. Let's look at a 4-room HDB in Tampines. We will compare two scenarios, one where the owner bought a BTO in 2014 and another where they bought a resale flat in the same year. We are using both scenarios to show that the calculation methods works the same, no matter if it was a BTO or a resale flat. In the first case, the owner bought a BTO flat in 2014 for $300,000. It was ready to move in by 2018. In the second case, the owner bought a resale flat for $400,000. Now, both flats have met their minimum occupational period and are ready to be sold in 2024. Based on the recent transactions, similar flats in Tampines are selling for about $750,000. Let's see how much each seller actually walks away with. The first deduction is the remaining loan balance. If the owner took a 25-year HDB loan at 2.6 interest, after 10 years, they will still owe around $180,000. So, before seeing any profits, this amount has to be deducted from the selling price. If CPF was used to pay for the HDB, every dollar withdrawn, including the interest, needs to be refunded. This covers the down payment, monthly payments, and even CPF used for stamp duties or legal fees. For the BTO owner, they use $60,000 for the down payment and about $114,000 over 10 years to service the loan. That totals to about $174,000 in CPF. With the 2.5 annual interest, the total refund is around $220,000. For the resale buyer, since the price was higher, they used more CPF. They withdrew $80,000 for the down payment and $150,000 over 10 years for the mortgage. With accrued interest, the total refund required is about $290,000. So even though the selling price of $750,000 seem high, both sellers will need to refund a significant portion back to CPF. Next, let's deduct the agent fees. Typically, it's 2% of the selling price, which for a $750,000 flat is about $15,000 plus GST, adding another $1,350. Legal fees will be about $3,000, and there might be minor costs like moving or touch-ups around $2,000. Now, let's put it all together. For the BTO seller, selling price is $750,000, minus off the outstanding loan $180, minus the CPF refund with accrued interest $220, minus the agent fees and legal fees $19,350, minus the moving cost $2,000. The final cash proceeds will amount to $328,650. For the resale seller, selling price $750 minus outstanding loan $240, minus the CPF refund $290, minus the agent fees and legal fees $19,350, minus the moving cost $2,000. The final cash proceeds will amount to $198,650. So the key takeaway here is that both sellers make a profit, but the BTO owner walks away with much more cash than the resale owner. But both calculations follow the same method, proving it works whether your flat is a BTO or a resale. Now that you've seen how the numbers work, here's how you can calculate your own profits. First, check out your flat's market value by looking at the recent transactions for similar units. Then, log into your HDB or bank portal to check your loan balance. Next, visit the CPF websites to see how much you have used and how much interest has accrued. Finally, estimate your selling costs including the agent and legal fees. Once you got all these numbers, use this formula. So the net profit will equals to your selling price minus your loan balance minus your CPF refund minus your fees. This gives you a clearer picture of how much cash you actually get from selling your HDB. So now that you know how to calculate your profits, the final question is, should you sell now? If you have completed your MOP and your profits margin looks strong, selling might be a great way to cash out and upgrade. But if you still have a big loan or CPF usage, maybe wait for the property to appreciate more. The most important thing, don't guess. Do the calculations and make an informed decision. If you found this useful and you're thinking of selling soon, click the link around this video and join me for a free advisory sessions to see what's the next best step for you.